It was nice to have those few moments to just take a deep breath and take it in, like my look, everything. It was a nice moment. Even though we were running late and I kept asking like, Jess, are we okay? How are we doing on time? And you're like, don't worry about that. Just be in the moment. And that's what I tried to do. Be present on my wedding day and honestly just let the professionals handle it.
Hey ladies, welcome to season 3 of B3 podcast, Boss Babies and Bottles. And for those of you that are new here, my name is Jessyca with a Y. I'm a twin mom, wedding and event planner, entrepreneur. And for today, your drinking buddy. May that be coffee or wine, depending on the time of day. Here I get real with you and talk about all things mom life, building your business, and event planning. What I've loved most about my first 2 seasons with you guys is that I've gotten to meet some amazing women and moms that are just like me, just trying to do their best in life. I've also been able to get super real with you all on my life and motherhood in general. So join me this season as I go through the twins' first birthday and what it's like to be a mom of twin pre-toddlers. I'll also be having some amazing special guests and going through some of my best wedding planning stories too. So grab your favorite bottle or drink and let's get this party started. Hey ladies, welcome to today's episode of Boss Babies and Bottles. Today I'm joined by one of my past brides, Miss Nicole Rodriguez. Now, have you changed your name yet?
No, we're still new. Mr. Garcia is okay if I don't change it.
No, definitely not. Well, these guys just got married about a month ago, so they still... You have plenty of time to change your name, so do not worry. I was just asking so I don't introduce you incorrectly. Nicole, guys, actually found me through Instagram. Those of you who follow my Instagram game, we definitely try over here with our social media to be as informative in all different social media aspects, but Instagram being one of our big ones for sure. So she found me through Instagram. Like I said, got married only about a month ago. So August 6th, 2021. And actually had her wedding in 2 different locations. So 2 locations. One was the hotel in which she got ready in and had the reception. And the other one was the church in which we did the ceremony. So we had a 2-location one for her. And so most of you have heard my podcast episodes where I talk about my memoirs of a wedding planner, wedding disasters. And your wedding made that cut.
I'm honored.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just, it made the cut. I mean, it is what it is. I think the best part about the whole thing, though, is that we figured it out, you know?
Yes.
It was figured out. So first and foremost, thank you, Nicole, for joining me, of course.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. Honestly, I was so happy with the services that I can't rave enough about it.
Well, I appreciate that for sure. So Nicole was actually a COVID bride. She was supposed to get married August of 2020. But of course, with COVID, we had to push it back to August 2021. All was fine until about, 6 weeks before? Literally
5 weeks to be exact.
5 weeks. Oh, well, I was giving us more time. 5 weeks before her actual venue was the Mayfair Hotel down in Coconut Grove. Do not go there. That's obviously going to be our first advice.
Yeah, please.
Do not go there. But basically, she had her tasting the week before, had just met with all the staff over there. And the following week, the general manager called to just say, hey, we returned your money and we're basically shutting down for a remodel.
Actually, no, I hadn't even had my tasting yet. I was supposed to that weekend. They called me 2 days before. Yes, 2 days before my tasting.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry, everything's canceled. Here's your money.
Yeah, and they basically were like, we already refunded the money, so good luck to you. And that's it. So I was in a meeting, literally finishing up a meeting when I get Nicole's call, and I was like, man, we don't have a scheduled call right now. So I think I probably did one of those auto texts, like, hey, I'll call you back in a bit or whatever. And it was not even 5-10 minutes later, I gave you a call and you were crying. So I guess you can tell us what happened at that point.
I was sobbing hysterically. I think in between gasps, I was like, Jessyca, help.
When you called me crying, I'm like, what just happened that she's crying at this point? Because it was pretty bad. And it's obviously not what I expected.
Well, definitely not. They called me at work. I was hysterical. I mean, we had already paid everything at that point. Everything was done. It was in its little gift box, wrapped up, ready to go. And then we had the rug pulled out from under us. And I mean, you and your team were able to basically hit the ground running and help us look for venues and secure a venue like a day later or 2 days later, not even.
Yeah.
So,
So
a better venue, way better venue. The Colonnade, which is like, wow. So.
Yeah, the Colonnade, which is definitely up there, one of the better venues for sure. And I mean, I'm a problem solver at heart. So when someone calls me with a problem, I guess I go into problem solving mode. And so that's exactly what we did for you. You know,
that's what you told me. You're like, do you trust me? And I was like, yes. And that was pretty much it.
I'm like, you trust me? Great. I'm glad that those are the words that come out of my mouth when and I'm like, we got this. And yeah, I got my girls directly on it while I was driving back from this meeting. And it's like, we just need to find a venue somewhat within the area-ish, because we already had the church, and on the same day, which was definitely hard because we were a few weeks away. So this was literally crossing our fingers to see who might be available. And it's also within the price range, more or less, of exactly what you had already paid. Because the last thing we wanted, I mean, I'm sure we could find someone available at like double or triple the price.
And that was something that I love, that you were so open and honest with me. Like, you need to be realistic about the budget and what to expect, because then you're going to, like you said, end up spending double, which was something that we were not prepared to do 5 weeks before.
Not.
So
nobody is prepared to 5 weeks before to spend double at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody is, you know. And so, but luckily I have friends in high places, which is, you know, thank the Jesus on that one. And I was able to call a few different places, and the Colonnade was one of the ones that you guys had originally looked at when you had looked at venues, but they were out of your price point, if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned, right?
Yes, but they met us because you guys basically had said, this is what's going on with my clients. Yep. This is the contract. What can you do for them? Yep. Can you help?
I remember asking you too when we were on the phone. I was like, how much did you pay the Mayfair?
Yeah.
And when you gave me that number, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a little bit more difficult, but that's okay. We got it. And yeah, I had to renegotiate a whole contract 5 weeks before and just make it happen. And originally Nicole had hired me for just coordination, which basically means I only step in 6 weeks before. You have planned it at this point. I'm just executing.
Everything was done.
Yeah, well, it was done, exactly. But once I stepped in, technically it wasn't done. And so we still did that for you, is what I'm trying to get. Not because it wasn't done, not because it was your fault, just because it's just what it required of us. And so, but definitely a fiasco, but we were able to get it within price point, a much more gorgeous venue. And just overall, like, everything was just so much more beautiful.
I had asked your opinion. You were so honest with me. Like, you had asked me like the opinion. I had asked you like if it was worth spending money on extra things that might not, small details that the day of one might not even notice, right? And those funds can be better used for like another hour of photography or for something else. So it's really important. It was important for me to have that relationship with you and that honesty. And I love that. I love that you were so, from the beginning, honest and just very real. And that's important, you know, to not sell false expectations.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that you can do at the Colonnade, because they have a ballroom, but they also have this rotunda in the lobby area in which they normally just drape off to make it private. But if I'm not mistaken, it was over $1,000, right?
It was like two grand.
$2,000. And I was trying to get them to bring it down, especially because they had a wedding the next day who did get the drapes. Like, I know all the ins and outs on ways to get discounts, and they did bring it down, but it still, I didn't think was enough to justify putting them on. And then they also were trying to sell you then on like just drapes at the entrance. And I was like, if you're not going to do it everywhere, what's the point at this point, you know?
100%. You were so right.
And one of the things that she did was kind of just put the drapes, or not put any drapes, use that money towards an extra hour of photography, videography. Talking about, of course, the wedding day itself, like now we're finally here. We're like, okay, we're going to do this. I find out from Hair by Didi, Diana, who is absolutely amazing. I hope you can agree with that.
Honestly, my hair looked like stunning. Everybody still raves about my hair, like from the pictures, my bridesmaids, my parents, my husband, everybody. I mean, basically they want me to wear the extensions full time now.
And that's how it always goes, for sure. So she does amazing work. Your hair and makeup were absolutely flawless. But that morning you did the one error, sadly, that I hate to put blame, but you did the one error I'm always scared that brides are going to do, which is basically sleep in past the time that you were supposed to wake up for hair and makeup.
I will tell you the advice that you gave me. I wish I would have been better at like delegating stuff to people and just letting go the night before, because we stayed up to finish last minute things and then I overslept. I woke up when hair and makeup got there.
Yeah.
So they started on my sister, and then by the time they got to me, it was already like maybe about an hour in after we were supposed to start at 7:30, and they started on me like almost at 8:30. So.
Yep. Which, as you saw, does cause the rest of the day to be slightly delayed.
Definitely. I always feel like there's something that kind of throws off the timeline no matter what you do.
Always, 100%, always. No, there's definitely always something for sure. But, we had to move some pictures around, throw some things around. We tried to primarily at least focus on the two of you so we can get all the photos that you guys wanted together. And we kind of pushed some of the family photos in different directions and the bridal party photos. We luckily had, I would say, just enough time to do everything you still wanted to do. Luckily.
Honestly, yes. 100%. I still got my cake. I got my cake and I got to eat it too. So
thanks to the buffers that we always place in timelines to make sure that we're still on time. So if we have extra time, fantastic. But if we don't, then at least we know we're going to go straight into things. So that's what we were able to do here. So the morning of, we were running a little bit late, but for the most part, it was great. And thankfully, like I said, Hair by Didi and her team, all of them just really did a fantastic job, not just on you, because of course you are the most important, but on everyone. I mean, even your grandmother looked fantastic.
I know. Everybody looked amazing. My mom, my mother-in-law, my bridesmaids. I mean, they all looked stunning. Even like we started doing hair and makeup at 7:30. Even when the party ended after 11, everyone still looked pretty damn good, even after sweating and dancing and all that. So
yep, that's what I say too. I would say I used Hair by Didi, as most of you know as well, for my hair and makeup. I don't trust anyone else to touch my hair. Hair and makeup I do. Those are my two companies. And even after my wedding, as crazy as it was, I still looked great. My hair was a little jumbled, but that's because we had mosh pits until like 2 a.m. Not really, but our dance floor we had a long reception. But at the end of the day, I mean, you just still look great no matter what it is. So that's great. And obviously the day before, as you were giving me the stuff, one of the things that also happened was that you couldn't even give me all your personal items because everyone else was late too from your family.
My mom, my dad, everyone still had things and they weren't there. I thought you were going to run.
In the afternoon. This wasn't even like I went to see you at like 12, 1, 2. Then one could say, well, it's still early in the day. I didn't see you till like 5.
Control what everybody else does. And when I gave you all the million lists that I had, I thought you were gonna run. Like, bye, this was fun.
This is great, guys. I'm out. No, definitely not. I don't run. But yeah, I know it definitely does hinder, it made you just more stressed. And that's what I always try to tell people to avoid. What are things that you can avoid so that you have less stress?
Delegate to as many people as you can.
Yep. Delegation for sure. Getting organized with your list, which you were, which helped the next day, little things like that. I say these things because I do these things all the time. So thankfully that part you did, the delegation, not so much, but the organization, you were there.
I mean, and I will tell you, it was hard for me to give up control to you because I'm very type A as well. So I said it in my review, and I'll be honest, from the beginning, I wasn't too crazy about having a wedding planner because I did not want to give up control to anybody. But honestly, I trusted you, and you're so on top of everything, and you're very type A, super organized, that I love that. So I felt like I was in good hands, and I know whatever I was going to give you, you were going to be on top of it and make sure it was executed. So yeah. I felt better having you, honestly.
I appreciate that. I always tell people, I'm I try to be what you would be, if you were not if you were not the bride, of course, how would you, want your wedding to be? You know what I mean? If you weren't super busy that day and you had to do everything, that's what I want to be. That person that you can lean on, that person that you can come to, that person that, makes it happen, whatever it is that you want, at the moment. And for you, I was even more sad because usually one of my tips is to make sure that you eat and drink what you would normally eat and drink every day. And by the time I got to you, you were doing your hair and makeup with Dee, and you had not eaten a thing, you had not drank a thing, you were just there.
My bridesmaids were in the moment having fun, and I was like, Jess, can you feed me?
No, I asked you. You didn't even tell me if you could feed me. I was like, did you eat or drink today? And you were like, no. And I was like, what do you mean no?
I mean, I had breakfast, I had coffee, and I had a little piece of fruit or something. Yeah. I had a little something.
Hours later.
Yeah, I know. I was dying. I was like, help.
This was hours later, and then they finally, I look around and I'm like, there are 10 other perfectly good women just sitting here. And not one is giving you food. Not that I mind giving you food, because that's really not it. But you would think someone would have been like, hey, let's give Nicole something to eat or drink. And so
It
that,
doesn't pass out.
yeah, that was definitely something, but it's all right. We got you some food, we got you some drinks. And then obviously you got to finish your hair and makeup pretty much alone with Hair by Didi. And I think that that was really a good moment. It was just me, you, and her basically, and one of her girls there. And we just kind of hung out while you got wrapped up as all the bridesmaids were upstairs waiting for us.
It was nice to have those few moments to just take a deep breath and take it in, like my look, everything. It was a nice moment. Even though we were running late and I kept asking like, Jess, are we okay? How are we doing on time? And you're like, don't worry about that, just be in the moment. And that's what I tried to do. Like, just be present on my wedding day and honestly just let the professionals handle it.
And that's what I tell people. I'm like, you hire professionals for a reason. You know what I mean? So let us do what we do, because definitely between me and photography, we just had to keep communicating and make sure we were still going to get everything within an accurate time frame. So that was definitely good. Obviously, something else that happened at your wedding. So once we got to the church and we're sitting there, and Nicole, you're waiting outside. Guys, it's August in Florida, okay? It wasn't exactly the coolest weather here. And we're sitting there waiting. We are so on time. This church is known for being pretty like on their own time, on their own rules. But they told us, I don't know how many times they told you and how many times they told me, be on time. And we were on time.
I was there on time.
We weren't on time. We were early. We were a few minutes early. We were just all standing there. And then I remember, your husband looked at me and he's like, well, what are we waiting for? And I was like, well, you see, we're waiting for the priest. And he's like, is he not here? And I'm like, they told me he's here. I have not seen him. I'm going to say that he's back there somewhere, just waiting. And he's like, when is he going to come out? I'm like, I really have no idea. But at this point, we're all here. We're ready. I guess we're just going to wait for him to come.
You know that he was smoking a cigar beforehand?
Yeah.
I could smell it on him. He was just chilling in the back.
Nothing surprises me at this point. Nothing surprises me. But yeah, basically he was just kind of back there. And then when I went up to the front, I asked the musicians, I'm like, oh, when's father coming out? And they were like, oh, he's not even dressed yet. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. And the lady goes, oh, but don't worry. That's quick. It's just like a robe. He just slips it on. And I'm like, I look at the time and I'm like, it's like 3 minutes after the time we were supposed to start. And I'm like, great. This is fantastic. I love being late. But, at the end of the day, he finished on time. He did actually finish at the time he was told to end. So that was positive within itself.
It was a nice ceremony, everything that he said. And it was nice. It was nice, like you said, to be in the moment. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Even with all the little hiccups, like my wedding day was perfect.
Of course.
Honestly.
And then, of course, as we were walking out during the ceremony, we had some issues with, you had rented this beautiful classic vintage car. And as you were driving there, you could already tell that it was stalling and having some issues. During the ceremony, we gave the car a break and it had turned on and it was fine. And so you asked me when the ceremony was over, how's the car? And I'm like, oh, it turned on. It's fine. And as soon as we go out there, the guy's like,
a tow truck.
It's not fine.
No, there's a tow truck towing the car.
I'm like, oh, I guess it's not fine. And then they're taking it in a tow truck. And I'm like, well, at least I got you here. I was like, wait, tow truck, stand over there. We're going to take some pictures and we're going to pretend like we did this,
That's what I was just going to say. They at least let me take some pictures before they hooked up the poor car into the tow truck.
Of course, at that point, he could wait 10 minutes until we were done with our pictures, for sure. Okay. We were able to take the pictures. Everything was great, at least. And then you guys, I told you, I was like, just hitch a ride with some family or friends. And it was fun.
That's what we did. That's exactly what we did. And it was still fun and perfect. And things are going to go wrong on your wedding day. Just try to roll with the punches. Don't let it sour your day. Something always happens. So you're getting married. Like you had told me, all that matters is that you're getting married to the love of your life. That's really all that matters, because it's about you and him. And that's the truth. And things are going to happen. Not everything is going to be perfect. And that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. And if you're not okay with that, then my thoughts are not very good, because I'm always like, if you're not okay with the fact that you're going to be married to the love of your life at the end of the day, and you're just focused on the wedding, I'm like, be focused a little bit more on the marriage, guys, because that really is why we do all of this, Definitely. So that's my 2 cents on that. But Not a popular opinion, but that's what it is. At the end of the day, though, it was absolutely perfect, from all the photos to all the video footage that they got. I mean, everything that we were getting, you looked super glam, super gorgeous. Diana did just such an amazing job on you, on the girls, and everything was just really perfect.
Honestly, yes. And like, you guys even helped me change after into a dress that had 1,000,000 buttons on the back. I think you may have broken a few nails in the process.
I no longer have nails. I'm kidding.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I keep them with twins. You can keep them along anyway.
Makes sense.
Definitely outfit changes and all, but it was absolutely fantastic, and all the vendors really came together to make it happen. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining this episode. This was obviously with Miss Nicole Rodriguez. Just super excited about her wedding. We had so many different things leading up to it and even on the date, but it was still just an absolutely perfect day. And that's how it always goes.
Especially with dress.
Yes,
definitely.
So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.
Thank you, as always, for your love and support. The B3 podcast wouldn't be anything without you. Make sure, if you haven't already, please subscribe and review the podcast. And make sure to look me up on Instagram at EBJ Events or canal.twins to stay up to date on upcoming special events and exciting announcements I might have. See you on the next one.